Make Connections. I'm Marnie, your host, Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce. Glad you're joining us today. We have a great show as we kick off. Well, fall really officially started in September, but as far as I'm concerned, it really starts in October, and here now through the holidays, we'll always have our set decorations, much to the chagrin of the guys, but I always bring something in as we celebrate the festivities and the holidays coming up. Right now it's fall, it's beautiful, the weather's gorgeous outside, and we do have a great show for you today. So my first guest is Andrew Bogdanov. I said it right. It's just like a little hiccup there. With New Horizons Disability Empowerment Center, and I've known Andrew for, oh my gosh, 8 or 9 years now. When I first interviewed you, you were at NAU Yavapai over here doing a class, and we were talking about a project you were working on. And
I remember that.
And here you are still moving forward. And Andrew is the power of, you can never say I can't do anything. He's faced unbelievable challenges in his life. He has overcome and succeeded, and I'm glad to call him a friend and so happy to have him here to share what's going on, where things are happening in the world of disabilities empowerment, especially at the Disability Empowerment Center we have in Prescott Valley. So Andrew, welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Well, I'm just going to turn over to you because I want you to tell your story.
Sure.
And then what you're leading the charge on as far as connecting people with sports, even though you might be in a wheelchair. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just going to give a little background of why I'm in a wheelchair. So 5 years ago, on Valentine's Day of 2014, I was up at Arizona Snow Bowl, and I was snowboarding, teaching my girlfriend at the time how to snowboard, and it was about lunchtime, and she said, hey, I know you want to hit the train park where the jumps and rails are, so you go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you at the bottom for lunch. So I went to the top and hit all the jumps on the right-hand side, got down to the bottom, and I was like, you know what? She's learning. I could probably get another run in really quick, before lunchtime. So I went back up the ski lift, and I went down the other side and hit all the large jumps. Hit the first large jump, landed clean, came up into the second one, and it was built more vertical. And so as I came up the top of the jump, I felt good going up it, but as I came off the top, it shot me backwards 2 stories in the air. And I overshot the landing zone and came down in the flat. So the landing zone is designed to take away all the impact. So I was up 2 stories, came down on my neck, and wasn't wearing a helmet, but fortunately didn't hit my head, but landed on my neck, which shattered C7 in my neck and paralyzed me from the chest down. So that was obviously a traumatic time in my life to learn how to adjust from, being able to use my legs and even my core. And now I'm like, okay, how am I gonna live life in a wheelchair? Can I still have, fulfilling and happy life despite what happened? So I was in ICU in Flagstaff for 2 weeks, and then transferred to Barrows Rehab, where I did rehab, and then went to Mountain Valley Rehab, actually back in Prescott, for my outpatient therapy. So I was really determined just to get out of rehab and get back into life again. And I knew I was actually planning on going into the oil field before my accident and do physical labor to make money. So I was like, now I have to kind of shift my vision, and that's when I decided to go to NAU Yavapai and get my degree in entrepreneurship from there. But it's interesting because I had this near-death experience. It was a wake-up call for me. I was working at In-N-Out. I wasn't having big goals and plans. I didn't accomplish much up to that point. And it was like, what am I doing what if I died right then and there? I need to, I want to do so much more in life. So it was a traumatic thing, but it turned into something beautiful. So after my accident, I went to a support group at Tailgaters, and I met this individual who had a hand cycle. And he said, hey, I have an extra hand cycle. And a hand cycle is a 3-wheeled bike where you use your arms instead of your legs to cycle. And it's made for people with disabilities to be able to bike. He said, hey, you should come out and try it out. I played sports, played football at Bradshaw. Sports have always been a big part of my life. And so I got really excited, cool, I can still do something, despite my accident and being in a wheelchair. So he invited me. I still had a neck brace on. I was fresh out of the hospital, but I wanted to bike so badly and do something active. And it took me an hour and a half just to do a few miles. It took forever, and I was beat. But he was like, he didn't expect me to come back and ride. He said, do you want to do this again? And I'm like, heck yeah, I would love to do this again. This would be awesome. So I fell in love with that, ended up getting my own bike. I now have 3 hand cycles. I love the sport of hand cycling, but that was a turning point for me to realize that I could still be active despite my injury. So I was out biking one day, and Dave Siegler with New Horizons saw me, and he said, hey, I would love to, I'm opening up an empowerment center, and I'd love for you to head up the fitness center. And so that's what we're looking at now, where New Horizons is going to have an adaptive fitness center. There's nothing like it in the Tri-City area. It's accessible, adaptive equipment, and we're doing our grand opening on October 25th from 3 to 5 p.m.
And there'll be a lot of programs that you're going to be working on out of that. You were telling me about a wheelchair basketball team.
Yes. So right now, Ability 360 down in Phoenix does a lot of adaptive sports, but we don't have anything up here, and the weather's nice, and this is such a beautiful area, and I want to bring adaptive sports and fitness to the Prescott area. And so with the gym, we're going to be doing a lot of programs, one being the wheelchair basketball. So in the back of New Horizons, we are doing a fully accessible basketball court back there. We're actually working right now on laying down more concrete, having ramps down to it, and putting in hoops and everything so that we can do that. One of the things we're trying to do eventually is wheelchair basketball chairs are more expensive, so we're going to be looking at raising money for that. Yeah, so the wheelchair basketball, and then there's a few other programs.
One of them
too.
will say, and we'll let you think about this one, golf.
Golf. So that's
Andrew has
incredible.
golfed.
Yes.
So it's through 360.
Yes, so we through New Horizons, we did a golf program at Antelope Hills. I am actually in a wheelchair, obviously, and these machines allow me to stand up and play golf standing. So that's one of the programs that we have. Now, going back to the gym opening, this is a free service, and the opening will showcase our equipment and what we're doing. I'm a certified personal trainer, so anyone with disabilities or able-bodied can come in and use this facility too. So I'm very excited to bring this to the Prescott area and do this. And we're going to actually be doing an equipment adoption as well, so people can come in because we are a nonprofit.
And help support.
And help support.
And if you haven't seen just Andrew, and what a difference it can make. I invite you to come out on October the 25th, Friday, from 3 to 5, free refreshments, fitness center, meet with Andrew, meet with all the other trainers, and look what, it makes me feel bad that I'm not getting up off the couch. So look at yourself. You know of somebody, bring them on down. Again, as it is with all disabilities, it's a fair goods free environment. Again, that's another sensitivity. So come on out. Andrew Bagnell, thank you so much. I'm sorry we're out of time. We'll bring him back for more time. Thank you for joining us.
Hey everybody, it's David Osmond from Wonderama. Family is so important to me, and it's important to the 2020 census. So, when you respond to the census, remember to count everyone in your household, including young children. An accurate count of everyone, including young children, ensures that your community receives the funding for education and healthcare that it deserves. To learn more, go to 2020census.gov.
The following is a public service announcement test to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before you head out on the water. Let us begin. Are you a pelican? Does this look like your house? Is this your idea of fishing with friends? Do you use your feet as fishing hooks? Are you your own boat? Do you have webbed feet? No, I mean like a... That's the one. Do you want this in your favorite lake? Yuck, yike. No thanks, mister. Regardless how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
And welcome back to Community Connections. Joining me now is my next guest. And as we had with Andrew, we talk about leadership and people making a difference in the community. And this woman is no different. Lori Hunt, she's our new councilwoman for the town of Prescott Valley. And we're excited to have her. I'm excited to introduce you all to her. And welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful community.
Amen to that.
Landed in paradise, as I believe. I always say. So a little bit about yourself.
So I was I was appointed to the council in September, and I'm very excited to be part of such a great team. And in such a wonderful community. My background is in city management, economic development,
Okay.
community development. So
You get it.
I do get it.
You get it.
I'm very excited.
So where did you originate from?
Originally, I'm from Indiana. Most recently, I came from the Mission Viejo area in California.
Oh, okay. Is that where you served as city manager?
Actually, I was a city manager in Murrieta, California, and also
Ooh,
in
beautiful country over there.
Canyon Lake.
Uh-huh.
And then I did community development. I even ran the Riverside County Fair and National Day Festival for 3 years, which is the Riverside County Fair.
Wow. Well, I can see who I'm going to get on my PV Days committee. I'm just saying. Well, great. So what brought you to Prescott Valley?
So we came and visited. We had family here, my husband and I, and we fell in love with it. And it was time to retire, and it was time to pick something new. We had just gotten married, and so here we are.
So you retired and you found our piece of paradise here, and you're living here. What inspired you to throw your name in to the hat for appointment to the council?
Well, I was already a Parks and Rec commissioner
Okay.
for the town, and Mary Mallory's seat became available, and I was encouraged to apply, so I did. There were 14 of us, very qualified candidates, and then they narrowed it down to 3, and then I was very lucky to be chosen to become part of Team Prescott Valley.
Well, here you are, and we welcome you. We just find that this is the best community in Arizona, so, you're in great hands of the community that's going to work with you and, support you in the decisions you make. So let's talk about what's going on in Prescott Valley. First of all, people say it's growing.
Right. It is growing, and to me, that's a good thing. It's not growing out of control. It's growing in compliance with our general plan that was approved by the residents on a referendum. So the residents got to vote for our general plan, and that's what our staff is implementing. And staff makes recommendations to the council, and the council does the review and makes decisions based on the best interest of our residents.
Right.
And so the general plan is our roadmap, let's say. And with regard to the chamber, I've been a chamber member of some chamber somewhere my whole entire life.
I'll say that she did move to the area and immediately came and visited with us.
Right.
And
Actually,
we knew we had to keep her.
Right. Actually, I joined the chamber a couple months before we moved because I knew that was the best place to find out the scoop of everything. And you all are actually tourism oriented too, and so I give you kudos for that.
Thank you.
But it's important to me, back to the general plan, to implement that general plan, and it does include more rooftops. And to me, that's important because that managed growth, because we need more services here. And that's what you all deal with. So we need more restaurants, we need more stores, we need to keep our sales tax here local, because about 25% of our immediate budget comes from sales tax, and then we get another 25% more of intergovernment transfer from the state of Arizona, which includes some more sales tax. So it's very important to Prescott Valley that we do shop local and that we do create more services here.
Right. And I know I've been talking to a few people, and they've received recently in the mail a property tax bill or a notification of what their property taxes is, and it was like, oh my gosh. And I said, the town of Prescott Valley does not have a property tax. If you look at those line items, it is our Central Arizona Fire and Medical Authority, it's our Yavapai College District, it's our Humboldt School District, it's all those that are built in are what that taxes provides for, is that educational system, that fire safety system. So take a very close look at it, and you will see that the town of Prescott Valley does not have a property tax, and they have never discussed going that way because it is reliant on that sales tax, which is why we say shop local.
Right.
Keep your money in here, and why it's so important to invest in bringing that retail and those services to the community for that sales tax base.
That's correct, and I'm glad you said that because you're right. Prescott Valley does not have a property tax, and that's rare. So I know my neighbors and I, fairly new to the area, we had that almost ground zero property tax to begin with for a year where they assess it on the land.
Right.
And it's very small. And then now they're assessing it on the actual value. And so
Right.
those of us that are new, our property taxes did go up, and it seemed like a lot, but that's why.
Right.
It's because the first assessment was on bare land, and now they're actually assessing us on our homes. But I don't think we can say shop local enough.
Right.
It's so important.
I agree. So we got a few minutes here. What do you see for the future?
The future is the quality of life, the weather, definitely.
I love it.
I think that our convention center is our future. I'm so grateful that previous council had took the convention center out of bankruptcy, because it would have been awful if that was boarded up.
Oh, exactly.
And to have all of those events here, and to have nationwide TV advertise those events here and talk about Prescott Valley is just amazing.
And you can't put a price on that.
You can't buy that.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, I've costed it out before, and this town can't afford that. So that's a real blessing.
Right.
And I think the people are our future. I think families are our future. The parks are our future. We're building a new park on Glassford that's almost done, and it has a fully inclusive playground where any child with any kind of ability can go and play there and have fun. And so
Right.
that's pretty amazing.
So nothing but positive outlook for the future. And again, following that, the general plan 2025,
Correct.
we were a part of that. The business community came together and had their input, as well as every citizen, the faith-based community, all had a part of what we wanted our community to look like. And again, there'll be an opportunity at some point to review that and perhaps input again. You're always open to people calling you
Yes.
or texting you, your emails. So
Yes.
Lori Hunt, Councilwoman, Town of Prescott Valley. Thank you.
Can I give my number?
Yes.
951-837-0020. So call me or text me or email me, and I'm happy. I also want to thank you all, the Chamber people, for putting the flags up on 69.
Oh, no, we'll talk about that later. Short break, we'll be right back.
It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool. Ah yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? It may be too late to check when you're on the road. Fortunately, you're on the couch. Don't think you know. Know you know.
And welcome back to Community Connections. We kind of had to cut Councilwoman Lori Hunt off just a little bit. We're running, but she did have a phone number she wanted me to tell you, and that's 951-837-0020. And she's open to talking to her community, and we do welcome Councilwoman Lori. I think she's going to do an amazing job bringing lots of great ideas and passion for the community and experience. So, okay, joining me next is Lance Lenore. He is the owner of Lenore Aircraft here in Prescott, located in the Prescott Regional Airport. Hi, Lance. How are you?
Hi, Marnie. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Okay, let's talk airplanes. So you have airplanes there that people rent for instruction, or they can rent to fly?
Both, yes, actually.
Oh, okay. Recreational flying, like you're already a pilot?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're probably the only company in the area, the Tri-City area, that actually serves private pilots that just want to go up recreationally. Most of the flight schools here are dedicated to what we call in the aviation business the 141 school. In other words, teaching pilots and getting to like an airline pilot certificate eventually.
Yes.
That's what Embry-Riddle does a lot of.
Right.
North Air at the airport does a lot of. We just simply rent airplanes, and we also serve the independent instructor community that doesn't work for, let's say, a flight school.
Okay, they might just take on a private student.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of my instructors that work with me, they are like retired air traffic controllers that do this because they want to, because they have a passion for passing on their love of flying to another generation, and that's why I do what I do.
So what is the demand for, let's say, renting your aircraft? I mean, are there a lot of pilots out there, or those wanting to learn to be a pilot?
Well, one of the challenges of learning to be a pilot and getting to the advanced ratings so that you can go to work for, like, let's say, SkyWest,
Okay.
is that it takes a great deal of basically boring a hole through the air for a lot of hours. You have to have a certain amount of flight time to go from one rating to another. And since we operate light sports, which are two-seat aircraft, they're very affordable to acquire, they're very affordable to operate. Our hourly operating cost is probably half of anybody else's on the field. So a lot of those people that need to build time, they come to us because we're just more affordable.
So it's just flying time, air time. Are there
Exactly.
tests?
No, not for that. There are flight tests when you go for a rating. There's
I see.
written, there's oral, and there's practical tests that a pilot has to pass to go from one certificate to another.
Right.
But no, this is just literally boring a hole through the air. For example, commercial rating, if I remember correctly, the requirement's 250 hours total flight time.
Wow.
So you have to have 250 hours. Doesn't matter what it's in. It can be even in a glider if you wanted it
Really?
to be. Correct, and we got a glider port out here too.
So then, let's say I have done my bore through the air for 200 and whatever hours in one of your aircraft, then would that qualify me to get a commercial rating?
You're also taking lessons to pass certain specific
Right.
maneuvers as part of that process.
Okay.
But you need to have that 250 hours before
Right.
you can even sit for that test.
I see. Okay. Okay. So tell me a little bit about your aircraft fleet.
Well, we started out with 2 Cessna 162 Skycatchers. We started that in 2017. I'd had these airplanes in Kansas City where we moved from and started the business out here. We've just recently expanded our air fleet considerably. We acquired a 2017, it's an Aeroprat A22LS. It's nicknamed the Foxbat. It's a two-seat.
Two-seater? Okay.
Two-seat light sport. And then we also have a 4-seat Cessna 182 available for rent now.
Okay.
So we're moving into being able to offer more to the pilot community, to offer additional types of instruction that we couldn't do in the light sport aircraft.
Right, right. Now, do some people, like you said, they could rent them for recreation? I mean, like the 4-seater would, like, could I take a weekend and fly to,
Actually, it's booked for a trip next weekend.
Okay.
For precisely that purpose.
Okay, all right.
They're going to put 10 to 15 hours on it flying around the Southwest.
So if somebody's interested in being a pilot, let's say I've always, is there a certain age that they have to be in order to start instruction?
I believe the age requirement is 17 for your private pilot's license to get started, but you can start instruction far earlier. You can't sit for the tests until you get to a certain age. But it's a wide open field now. It's a combination of our airline pilots aging out of the market because there is a hard stop date. You hit 65, you're gone. That's it.
Well, it rules me out. If I ever want to
I'm
be
getting
a pilot.
close to that one too. So the airline pilots are aging out of the system. The military isn't releasing as many pilots as they used to, partially because some of the military operations have shifted to drone work versus actual air work.
Wow, okay, okay.
So the supply of pilots for the airline has been constricted, and there's a lot of kids going into airline pilots because there's a huge demand for it.
And it's a good job.
It's a good job. It's a different career.
Right, right.
And you get to see a lot of places, and it's, for those that like to travel, it's probably a totally wonderful thing.
Right.
But it's a bit of work to get there. You know, to illustrate the demand, I think it's been reported that Embry-Riddle has brought in the largest class ever here in their aeronautical sciences, or whatever they call that particular program. Almost 300.
Wow.
And
those are all potential pilots.
Correct.
Wow, okay.
I mean, obviously, you've got to get through the program. Some people may not have the aptitude to be a pilot. It takes several things to get through a pilot program.
Right.
But for an incoming class, that's huge, considering I think last year was around 150 to 170.
Wow, yes.
So almost double in size. So our airport's going to get a whole lot busier out there.
And hence, you know, obviously having your aircraft, you'll get busier too. And if somebody's interested in taking instruction, we're running out of time here, but if they want to, can they call you for, you know, a list of possible instructors?
Absolutely. It's all on our website. There's a getting started page there for people that want to learn to fly, and a getting started page for incoming pilots that want to just rent an airplane.
Well, Lance, great job. Thank you for joining us here. Thank you all for joining us, Community Connections. We'll be back in 2 weeks.